Jessica with this week's Science and Tech News. Attention gadget lovers, Apple made a major announcement this week. The newest generation of iPhone will come in two sizes. The iPhone 6 has a 4.7-inch screen, and the 6 Plus will feature a whopping 5.5-inch screen. Both models will have 50% more battery life, which means 50 hours of audio playback and 11 hours of video playback. Plus, they come in three shiny colors: gold, silver, and space gray. That's not all Apple has up its sleeve. The Apple Watch offers users a new form of wearable communication. This smartwatch allows you to receive and respond to messages and even tracks your fitness, all without reaching for your phone. This just in from outer space. A meteorite crashed down in Nicaragua this week and left a 39-foot crater in its wake. Small rocky bodies called asteroids float around in space, and once they enter a planet's atmosphere, they become known as meteors. If a meteor hits the ground, it's called a meteorite. Normally, NASA's Near-Earth Object Program keeps track of asteroids and other flying space rocks that could potentially come in contact with Earth. But occasionally, a sneaky little meteorite slips through the cracks. Luckily, this meteorite didn't cause any major damage, and NASA is working to improve their tracking system so we don't get any more surprise visitors from space. The summer of the supermoons is coming to a close this week, but not before we get a good look at the harvest moon. This is our third straight month with the supermoon, and everyone is talking about it. But what exactly is a supermoon? Well, this phenomenon occurs when the full moon coincides with the moon reaching its closest point to Earth in its orbit. Basically, the moon looks bigger and brighter than usual. This month's supermoon is also called a harvest moon because it's the full moon that falls closest to the autumnal equinox, which happens on September 23rd. The engineers at NASA have done it again. They have developed the Space Launch System, or SLS, a new rocket that will be the largest ever built. Modern rocketry began in 1926 when Robert Goddard launched the world's first liquid-fueled rocket in Auburn, Massachusetts. In the 1930s, Soviet Russia began a massive rocket research effort, and during World War II, Nazi Germany used rockets to launch missiles. After World War II, the USA and Soviet Russia engaged in a Cold War for global, political, and technological domination, which included a space race. Thanks to President John F. Kennedy's funding of NASA, the USA eventually became the first nation to land people on the moon. The mighty Saturn V rocket was the first rocket to send humans to the moon, and it was 363 feet tall, which is about 60 feet taller than the Statue of Liberty. Plus, it weighed 6.2 million pounds, which is about the weight of 400 elephants. The SLS will surpass the Saturn V with a height of 384 feet, and it will have 20% more thrusting power than any previous rocket. The SLS is scheduled to make its first unmanned trip in 2018, but its bigger goal is to carry humans into orbit around an asteroid and then to Mars in 2030. James Bond is easily one of the most popular secret agent characters ever, and you can always count on him facing ultra-rich and powerful villains. These mustache-twirling bad guys love to travel in high-tech planes and submarines. In the 1980 film, For Your Eyes Only, real-life marine engineer Graham Hawke piloted a sub that attacked James Bond, and now he's selling futuristic deep-flight submarines to the world. Unlike traditional submarines, which fill out hollowed-out spaces with water and dive down to empty them to resurface, the deep flight Super Falcon uses the same lift and drag principles as regular airplanes. This means that the underwater machine is always floating unless it's being pulled down. The watercraft, which has a length of 21 feet and a wingspan of almost 9 feet long, will shoot straight to the surface in the event of a power loss. This craft, which looks like it was pieced together by a mad genius, can carry 2 people underwater to see canyons and colorful marine life. Or take over the world. You know, whatever floats your boat. Or should I say, sinks your sub. In an environmental adaptation process known as evolution, living creatures transform their bodies and behavior to better survive their surroundings. Scientists believe that over 400 million years ago, fish fins slowly evolved into wiggly legs, enabling the creatures to venture out from the ocean onto land. Now, scientists have recreated this process by raising fish in land-like conditions, and the critters actually changed the way they walk. Scientists experimented on 111 Polypterus senegalis, a fish species commonly called dinosaur eels. While 38 of them were raised in a normal watery environment, the rest were forced to survive in 3 millimeters of pebble-filled water. The dinosaur eels that lived in the earthly setting were also sprayed with watery mist to make sure they didn't end up dried out. After 8 months, the dinosaur eels in the drier environment started moving differently to better navigate their surroundings. That's not all either, because the dinosaur eels physically morphed. The bones that support the fins changed shape and their collarbones grew longer to help their heads and fins move better.